Hello and welcome to the Villa View post-match pint in association with Purity Ale. Tom Julian with Dan Bardell, and Villa are staying up. Dan, from your holiday Villa, how do you feel?
I never in like a million years thought that we'd be doing a show about us staying up. When that goal went in against Everton, that was it for me. I was like, it's done. But we were just saying off camera that like when we were doing a podcast last year and everyone was saying we just need to win 10 in a row. That's all we need to do, and we just completely dismissed it. Like I've done it again, not learnt my lesson. It felt over for me, and I cannot believe that with the 4 games to go, we've done what's required. And I don't really like celebrating like staying up, because I feel like it's very, very small time, something that a lot of our neighbours have done on a number of occasions. But I'm going to allow it because it's Villa. And I'm just, after the torturous season we've had at times, I'm just so relieved. And we get a chance to go again in the Premier League, because I hate the Championship, as everyone knows. I don't want to be there. I don't want Villa ever to be there. And we're not going to be next year. So it's very good, isn't it?
It is good. We'll get into all of the action from today and around the Premier League. I should just say that the chat is live, and we've already had about 150 messages come in. So make sure you get your comments on there. We'll read as many as we can. And we should also say that our partners here, Purity Ale, have done us a solid. In this celebratory time, we have a special discount code for you. So the code Survival Sunday, which is in your bottom screen that you can see. So not only do you get the 10% off that you would do with the normal Villa View code, but you also get a free glass and 3 free cans, as well as your 10% off. So make sure you're supporting Purity Ale today to give you the booze to celebrate. It helps us. It obviously helps Purity as well. So make sure. Look at that. You've got a goblet.
There's a weird glass situation here. There's not any proper beer glasses, so it's just been hand delivered to me because we've stayed up. So excellent.
Nice. Very nice. As ever on the Purity post-match pint, we will get a couple of fans on to get their views as well. I'm hoping jubilation all round. And just to go back to what you said there before, Dan, about not wanting to be in the Championship, I've seen very few messages of people going, "Oh, I wish we were going down." Yeah, I wish we were back in that Championship.
Yeah, I think people were just saying it to try and make themselves feel better. There can't be anyone that wanted to be in the Championship. It's just not plausible to me that people want to go to that league and go to obscure grounds on a Friday night and get beat. That doesn't resonate with me at all. But as I say, I'm a bit delirious because I can't believe it. This didn't seem possible to me. It didn't seem possible that we'd be doing this show. We very seldom have been able to do happy shows over the years we've been doing the Villa View. So I feel spoiled, to be honest, to be in this position. And at the end of the game, I wasn't sure what was going on. It felt like there was something going on that I didn't know about because no one was celebrating. I know the Watford game was still going, but I just felt like, is there another permutation I don't know about? Because I was expecting everyone to come running on the pitch.
I think that was a Dean Smith. I think he'd said to everybody, right, calm down, we're going to be respectful. They went and shook hands, and I think there was a sense of what you said earlier, where it wasn't about celebrating staying up. This is where Villa should be, and therefore let's not make too much bigger deal of this. We haven't just got promoted, or we haven't just qualified for Europe. We've just stayed up. This is where Villa should be, and I think there was a sense of that. And Smith wanted to make that clear in the post-match scenes, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are happy. I'm not going to hide away from that. But I do think also there is a sense of realism here that a 35-point Premier League season isn't really anything to get too celebratory about, in my opinion. Like, if you'd have told me we were going to get 35 points, I'd have been saying, oh, well, that's us finished. That's us bottom of the league then. But it's been enough to stay up, and I'm just thankful that Dean Smith kept Villa up. That's the thing I'm mainly grateful for. I didn't want Dean Smith to take us down and have that on his CV. So for him and his coaching staff, I'm absolutely delighted. I'm delighted for the players as well, because people say it doesn't mean anything to the players. I don't care. They just move elsewhere. You saw at the end of the game, there is a team spirit. They're happy that we've stayed up. That they've done the job. And realistically, a lot of people will say that is the job that was set out at the start of the season. The job was to finish 17th. Dolan said at the start of the season, if we finish 17th, I'd snap your hand off for it. And me and you scoffed a little bit, but realistically, if you'd offered me 17th 10 games ago, 10 hours ago or whatever, you'd take it, wouldn't you? And we've done it. I can't get my head around celebrating staying up, but I'm just so relieved, and I am happy, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Gizmo Atkins says, "Come on, the Villa." Um, Harry Bath says, "Dan Bardell on the drink tonight, I reckon." Uh,
Oh, and last night, every night this week.
Mush 89. I think that was up there with the most awful experiences of my life. By
Oh, big
far the
time.
most excruciating football experience. Was it worse than than the playoff finals for you?
Uh, yes, because there's the other games going on. So nothing could happen in your game, and then something could happen in the other game that absolutely kills you. All the way through, I didn't like that. When Arsenal were 3-0 up, I still didn't feel safe. I hadn't really written that off. A few people were messaging me, so at least we can forget about Watford now. And I was thinking, I don't think we can. Arsenal are hardly the most reliable team in the world, so it was annoying that was so close. I thought Bournemouth would win. Everton are a poor side at the moment. I thought Bournemouth would win. It must be excruciating to be a Bournemouth fan right now. That must be really horrible having won on the last day and it not being enough. When Jack scored, obviously I'm here with friends and they've got kids here and stuff. And when Jack scored, I went absolutely ballistic. Woke a baby up screaming. The baby was screaming. I was screaming. And then a minute later, bloody
Yeah,
1-1.
that's
It's
awful.
just football's horrible. And then stoppage time, 4 minutes feels like it's going on forever. I changed my pants about 3 times in stoppage time. It felt like stoppage time went on for an hour. It's just horrible. But the end, you get there and you just relieved. We seemed incapable of keeping the ball in the corner at the end of the game as well. Things like that. It's just excruciating. That 4 minutes of stoppage time felt like it was about 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Charles Bill says, "I've been up and down the garden all afternoon." I think that is reflected everywhere. I was pacing around my little man cave. It sounds like you've been working through the floor in the villa, and I, I think we all knew though that we'd have to go through this. And when
Yeah.
that Bournemouth relatively early goal, I think Josh King scores in about 15 minutes. That kind of set the tone for the afternoon, didn't it? Because Watford are already losing. They're almost dead and buried. I know they came back a little bit, but it felt like they were already gone with the whole thing that had happened with Nigel Pearson, and obviously them getting battered by City on Tuesday as well. It felt like Bournemouth were the real rivals
Yeah.
for safety, and for them to get an early goal, and Villa being what they are in terms of not having kept a clean sheet away from home all season, not having won in the capital in 9 games or whatever it was, it just felt like, oh no, this is written to be another, with the EFL, with all the shenanigans that went on in the playoffs. It felt like it was going to be another final day dramatic disaster, I guess, for Villa.
Yeah, I mean, this was. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. The children are trying to phase me. They keep walking past and just staring at me, and it's made me completely forget what I was going to say. I've got it now. I've got it back. Today was one of those days where I was glad it was behind closed doors because I
Yeah.
know I'd have been there today. And my record at West Ham's horrific. I've been there a number of times. West Ham away. We haven't done a sausage there. I haven't seen us win there. I'd have been there today, and we'd have probably chucked it away. And just so relieved that we didn't do it. And I don't. I feel a bit speechless. I don't think it's properly sank in. As I say, I still feel small time celebrating relegation, but I'm celebrating staying up. Sorry, but I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, well, let's get our first guest in and start going through the game. Then we've got Pete Powell, an avid Aston Villa kit collector, and look at that number that he's sporting today. He's come big, hasn't he?
He's done that on purpose to hammer me because he knows I want that shirt. And he won't give it to me.
Exactly.
And he won't give it to me. Look at the state of him. Very unhappy.
Pete,
But
how you
happy.
feeling? How are you feeling after today's result?
What a roller coaster! What a roller coaster! I had the 3 screens on the go. I was up. Oh, Bournemouth have scored. Oh, Arsenal have scored. Oh God, it was. I just. It's good. If you think of football as entertainment, that is the best entertainment you could ever have because you are so involved with the match. It's just completely overtakes your mental state, and it was brilliant. But as a Villa fan, as you've been saying before, is Tim potting it? We're saying, oh great, we're staying up. We've got 35 points in the Premier League, which is terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not great. What about the wait for the game today as well? Whoever came up with the kickoff times for today, I know everyone's got to play at the same time, but to come up with the idea of doing it at 4 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock here in Spain, but do them all at lunchtime been waiting for this all day, and I've not been able to focus on anything else, not been able to relax. Like football, it puts us all through the mill, doesn't it? But we keep coming back for more, and it doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't make sense, but when it works out well, it's the best thing ever, isn't it? It's great. Yeah. It's great. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be celebrating, getting into Europe or whatever, and I don't want to go overboard. But as you said, like, we're straight after the match, and we've got to celebrate it, haven't we? Because 2 weeks ago, we were 7 points adrift. We were gone. There was no way we were coming back from that. There was no way we were beating Arsenal, and we did it.
Yeah.
And they're done us proud, and
And I must admit, Pete, in our little WhatsApp group, you were one of the ones that stayed optimistic right until I think before the Palace game, and then you dropped. Well, I think it was the Manchester United game. Then you were like, right, we're done, and then everything picked up. So, what lessons do you learn from your own optimism? I think shelve it earlier. Maybe we improve performances.
I was optimistic. Purely because I could see it mapping out that the Villa, they had a chance, even if obviously been going down the Villa a long, long time, and you always know the Villa don't do it the easy way. It's like England, they never do it the easy way. But there was a couple, and then that Manchester United game when the VAR did not rule out Fernandez's penalty. I mean, that was never a penalty, and I thought it's just going against us. So I kind of lost my optimism. But yeah, I said to you, didn't I? I said I think the word I used was the Villa will be flying, but it never quite happened. Did it? Never quite happened. But they look comfortable today. There was no problems today. I don't think Reina made a proper save. I know Antonio went through. There was a bit of a nervy moment there.
What a miss.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he hits that on any other part of the boot, that's a goal.
Yeah, I actually disagreed a little bit. I think that if Declan Rice had his shooting boots on, we might have been under a bit of trouble. And obviously that Antonio effort was a golden chance for them. But, I mean, Villa had their chances as well. Samata had a couple of opportunities. McGinn at the back post. Grealish as well. Could have done better with a couple of efforts. Yeah. So, I don't feel like we were under a lot of pressure, Pete, but it just felt like because there was only that one goal in it between survival and relegation, I don't know. I've got a funny belly, let me tell you. It just doesn't feel good.
When we signed Samata, his strength was heading, and we saw in the League Cup final he scored a cracking header, didn't he? And I'm thinking, this lad, stick it on his head, it's a goal. Like, I think he's had 2 headers today. That one's gone straight down the keeper's neck. The other one, it's gone straight up in the air. I'm thinking, we've signed this lad. Just stick it in the net. Stick it in the net.
Yeah. I mean, you hang around at Villa too long, you tend to lose your good traits. It tends to be the pattern over the years, doesn't it? But I know what you mean. I was watching today thinking, if we had a striker, I think we'd have been safe a couple of weeks ago. Because Keenan's useful off the bench, I always think. He's a good impact player. Again, I thought he did well when he came on. But the one overriding disappointment for me today, Pete, I don't know if you feel the same, is we've said it in the WhatsApp group, I think, is that I wanted Jack's goal to be the winner. I wanted that to be the tale of today. And to be fair, the goal, it still helps us stay up, obviously. But do you know what I mean? I wanted it to be him that scored the goal. And if and when he goes, obviously, I believe that he's going to. That would have been some way to sign off, wouldn't it?
Well, I didn't see the freaky looping their goal because I was too busy celebrating Jack's goal. It was, and I think the first thing I thought was Paul Parker. The first thing I thought against Germany, Paul Parker was the first thing, and I think they said it in the commentary a couple of minutes after. I was celebrating. I was jumping around the room, screaming. It's just so stressful. It's just so
Andy Dixon in the comments. Pete Powell needs to be special guest every week. Man talking sense. I mean, I can't disagree with him. He's got a great shirt on. He's talking sense. But so what happens now?
That's your mate. That's Pete's mate. That's what he's saying. That's not me coming on and going, Tom Julian's the man.
Oh, we're not mates.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We are today.
That's true. Pete, I wanted to ask you what happens next year. Oh, nice advertising. Don't mind it.
Nice, yeah.
Pete, what happens next season? Does Dean Smith stay in charge for you, or how much of an overhaul does this squad need?
We need a striker. I don't think Wesley's the answer, and I think Tom, you'll agree with me on this. He's had a good game against Arsenal, a good game against Everton. People say he was turning the corner against Burnley. I don't see that. I don't think he has the technique or the influence on the squad to be what Villa need. Now, I'm thinking, like, don't get me wrong, Douglas, you could say, on the flip side of that, Douglas Luiz is somebody, the first time I saw Douglas Luiz, I thought he's going to be a real player. And some say it's the language barrier, whatever's happened. Since lockdown, he's been amazing. He's been great. I mean, I don't know if he had probably the best game today, but up until today, he's been brilliant. But I don't think Wesley's the answer. So I'd go out. I'd try and get Callum Wilson. If we can get Callum Wilson, he'd be great for the Villa.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
I mean, Bournemouth have gone now. I mean, we were waiting for today to see who's available. I think he'd be really good for Villa. Giroud would be the other one. I think we spoke in January, didn't we, about who could come in the January transfer window, Dan? I mean, Giroud would be good at the Villa. Somebody, I mean, Keenan Davis, the chance he missed today was exactly the same as the chance he missed against Arsenal. Okay, he wasn't through on goal today, but against Arsenal, he was through. You think, if that's Tammy Abraham, that's a goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, everyone knows my thoughts on the striker situation generally, even when Wesley comes back, that we need somebody else in, especially now that we're in the Premier League. It would have been interesting to see Wesley, I think, in the Championship, to see what his level really is. But I don't think we can just take that gamble that he's going to make the step up in the Premier League. We need a roster of strikers that are good enough and willing to fire us, because I mean, it showed that we can't rely on our defence all the time. Pete, thank you so much for joining us. Massively appreciate it. Enjoy the celebratory purity, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Definitely, mate. Thank you very much for having me on.
Cheers.
See you later, Pete.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa. You are watching the Purity Ale post-match pint. If you do want to buy yourself some Purity in a celebration of Villa's survival, you can use the code Survival Sunday for 10% off, as well as a free glass and 3 free cans. So a massive offer from the Villa View this week. I think it only lasts a week or so. So make sure you use Survival Sunday now. Get in for payday. There it is. Lovely little graphic. So you can see all that, plus your 10% off. Helps us, helps Purity as well, and it's a great reason because we're finally celebrating. What a lovely time. Dan, has your not necessarily your opinion, but your kind of information on Dean Smith changed with this win? Do you think he's still for the exit door, or do you think he might have won himself a lifeline today?
My opinion is that he's done the job in his mind that he probably thought he was going to need to do in keeping this up. My opinion is that I would keep him on 100%. I've said many times on everything that I've done, I think he's been working with one hand tied behind his back the whole season. Let the manager pick the players. I know he has a say, but you know what? I know it was a different time, but when we were a good side, like Brian Little and John Gregory, chose the players. Brian Little and John Gregory. I know football's changed since then, but do you know what I mean? I just think it makes sense, and I think Suso will 100% go. I think everybody knows that. I think this is just my opinion. I think that Dean Smith might go, right, even though we've stayed up. That's what I think. I might be wrong, obviously, wrong many times, wrong about Douglas Luiz, but I just think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. Whether we've gone down today, whether we stayed up, I think that was what was going to happen. And
another one that a lot of people are talking in the comments, and they're kind of, I guess, fairly questioning, why would Jack Grealish leave? Why are we so sure that Jack Grealish is going to walk out the door? Do you think that has changed with Villa staying up? I've always been of the opinion that I think he's going to move on to a European challenger. I think he's at that point in his career where he wants to play for England. He wants to play in Europe week in, week out. And as much as he loves the Villa, I can see him looking for a move. And now that it's not necessarily You know, if we'd have gone down into the Championship, he would have had to leave. Now there's not necessarily that urgency, and the owners maybe don't necessarily have to sell him. What's your thoughts on the Jack Grealish transfer then?
People don't like it, but I don't think anything's changed. I still would expect him to go. You could see with his interview after the Arsenal game, he pretty much said it himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
Without saying it, it's written all over his face. The way he was a bit like a politician in the way he answered it. This is why I was so wanted it to be the winner that he scored today. But all those things that you've just mentioned about what Jack Grealish needs, even next season, if we were to spend money well and things, Villa aren't challenging for Europe. I don't think. I think we're too far away from that, even to challenge for the Europa League. Obviously, we've got to the League Cup final. If we'd have won that, we'd have been celebrating staying up, and we'd have been in the Europa League, which I think would have agreed would have been an excellent season. Some silverware for the first time since 1996 would have obviously been much appreciated as well. I just think we're light years away, and I keep using that term light years because that's what I believe. We're too far away from what Jack Grealish needs. He's not a young kid anymore. He's 24, coming up to 25. I just think he needs to go and test himself at the highest level, and unfortunately, the highest level isn't with Aston Villa Football Club. I wish it was. I'm sure you wish it was. I'm sure everyone does. People will disagree in the comments. I know they will. I should have done a Pete and maybe prep my best mate to come on and give me some praise, say that I was talking sense, but I haven't.
In fact, you're getting some negative again down by that comment.
It's realism though. The only thing is that the landscape of the world has changed. There might not be a silly money going around in the off season that there would have been had COVID not happened. That is the only thing that might keep him here. But if he's leading out Villa day one of the season or whenever the transfer window shuts, I'd be absolutely shocked and very, very happy.
Jam says Jack deserves the move. Let's celebrate his contribution to the club over the last 10 years. Jay-Z, Jack needs to go for his career. Lee Bradshaw, Grealish will go after today. He deserves to go. He's given us more than he had to. Let's bring a trained journalist on to really dive into this, because we need some professionalism in here. James Rushton, thank you for joining us on the post-match pint. First of all, let's talk about Grealish. Dive you in straight at the deep end. Jack Grealish, does he stay or does he go in the summer?
I mean, if he gets drunk enough tonight, does a contract count if you sign it when you're under the influence? That's my fault. And I want to challenge you on this journalist thing. I'm not out here with a Stan Collymore bib screaming journalist in the streets. So let's keep it real. Come on, celebrate today.
Okay, I was going to ask when the trained journalist was joining us. That's what I was going to ask.
Well, listen, you're not a trained journalist today for 20 minutes. You're a Villa fan. How did you feel about that game? What was your emotions? Talk us through the roller coaster.
It was awful because you're not focused at all on what's going on with Villa, like that 0-0. You keep that status quo and it's fine. You're focused on Watford and Bournemouth, and then you see the Bournemouth result come in, and I'll be honest, I haven't focused on Bournemouth all week. I haven't cared. And then they score 1-2-3 against Everton, is it? And then they're in the lead. Like that, it throws your mind out of whack. So, that you're instantly challenged when Bournemouth get their result, and Watford couldn't quite get theirs. But you're looking at Bournemouth and you're thinking, God, you can't let it slip now, because the worst case scenario is happening. The actual worst case scenario is turned up on your doorstep. But credit to Villa, they got it done. It was awful to watch. Probably not the worst game for a neutral. Probably a bit of excitement, but for me it was awful, horrible. Won't be watching that back in a hurry.
Yeah, it won't be one we dig out from the archives in a few years. I don't think, James. With the Watford game as well, I don't know whether you had all the games on at the same time, but when it got to 3-2, I was starting to think, you just know that Troy Deeney's going to do something here. It would be peak Villa if Troy Deeney suddenly just scored a couple of late goals and they win 4-3 and send us down. That's the weird thing. I don't think, in my time, I think in 95, we were pretty much safe, but it wasn't 100%. I think there would have had to have been a massive goal difference swing, and Villa stayed up on the last day over Norwich. But in my lifetime, I've never really had anything like that where there's so much riding on 3 games all going on at the same time. It's quite a unique thing to Villa fan today, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've only really had to focus on our results, and that's, from last season, there's only one real part where you're in that Sheffield Wednesday game where you're looking at other results and everything's gone our way. I can't remember anything, such a tornado of information coming through regarding Villa. It was genuinely awful. I didn't have any games on, but I will say when we got to the end and the final whistle blew, we celebrated like we were staying up, even though the Watford game hadn't finished, because we believed the Watford game had to have finished. We made my little baby niece cry from all the celebrations, and then we had to settle down thinking, we've got 50 seconds here where anything could happen. Thank God it didn't. Unfortunate for Watford and Bournemouth, but man, the nights are, so let's keep it that way.
I mean, that would have been too cruel if they'd have got 2 goals in 50 seconds. But Pig Villa has been a phrase that's been bandied about, and it would fit there. J1, my sphincter still hasn't recovered. J1, I know how you're feeling. Philly D, Villa Leeds next year should be fun. Lol. It's going to be a good Premier League next year, James. There's some good teams coming up, and I'm so delighted Villa are going to be there. But and talking about it, we know already that the Championship's going to. The Premier League. The Premier League's going to start September the 12th. There's not a huge amount of time to turn this kind of season around again, get your players in, and get things ready. So, I guess my question is, the teams that already have kind of a settled squad are going to have a bit of an advantage here. Does Dean Smith or whoever's going to be in charge need to get their business done early and make sure that we've got a team that's training together from early doors? Or do you see a bit of a kind of first month where players are getting used to each other again?
Well, I hope it's not the case, because look, we paid the price for that, didn't we? We had Douglas Luiz and Trezeguet, who really kicked on since lockdown in their own ways. So they weren't much. Well, I mean, Luiz was showing plenty of signs of being brilliant, but like it wasn't there. The product wasn't there, and like the player he's become after lockdown, it's just such. It's like you see it realised in front of you, and that can only happen with that break. So, a lesson has to be learned. You've got to keep that squad together. You've got to keep as many key components of that squad together, build stably, and action that plan. I hope that plan, like they've learned from last year as well, and they have a plan in place ready to go, regardless of what other teams are doing. I want Villa's plan to take priority, not what other teams are doing. Now, I don't want them to look at I know I said it on Twitter, I don't want them to look at Brighton signing Adam Lallana and think, oh, now we've got to change it. I want them to be aiming for that calibre of player anyway. Fingers crossed. How
many players do you think are really key components? Because like this conversation 3 weeks ago would have been, there are 3 key components here. There's Jack, there's John, and there's Tyrone, all of whom are going to leave 3 weeks ago. But now, has that widened because we've won a couple of games? I'm interested to know what the psychology is now, because we've won a couple of games, sure, but are we now a Premier League worthy squad?
That's so tough. I mean, like if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd have said the squad isn't there, and now to come on here and say the squad is there, it feels a bit wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like, if they can identify through the various metrics reports that they have on their own players improvements in certain areas, say the wing, I'll take that. If you're not, if they're gonna buy a player in McGinn's position, is where I'd worry. If they see an opportunity to buy someone undervalued who can be better than McGinn, is where I'd worry, because you don't want to maybe displace those players who you want starting every game, who are a key part of dressing rooms, even if there is such a solid improvement on offer. I think the key question is realising who can step up to the mantle of being the next Jack Grealish, literally.
What do you reckon, Dan? How does the squad look in a couple of weeks' time?
I haven't got a clue, mate, but the biggest worry for me,
Excellent.
for me
Thank
now.
You for that. Well, let's call it off.
The thing I'm worried about now, which I cannot believe I'm even worried about, because again, 10, 11 weeks ago, I wouldn't have minded, but the Douglas Luiz thing now, it just to me seems like such a simple transaction for Man City that they can just buy him back for, is it 25 million or whatever the release clause is. It's a simple bit of business. Even if they think he's not good enough for them, they can buy him back and buy him for 25 and maybe sell him to someone like Wolves for 35. To me, that just seems like a simple transaction for them now. And that's now a player who's excelled for 10 games consistently, seems to have learned the position of being a DM very, very well. But I didn't see that being there before Christmas. Certainly didn't see it being there, but when lockdown came upon us as well. But it's there now. It's tangible. You've seen it for 10 games consistently. So for me, that, as much as I think Jack will go, I think that's a very real danger for Villa now.
Yeah, it's a fair concern.
Yeah, I think, again, it's like you say, that path. You see a lot of rumours about Arsenal going in for him or whatever, but the path that Man City have to kind of, there's been concerns about, Fernandinho 1 year left on the contract, whether Rodri's the player they want, and Pep rates Douglas Luiz. He said it before we joined, so it's such a simple bit of thing they can do just to cut Villa apart, and it'd make you feel bad for sure if you lose Grealish and then you kind of go a few weeks and then they come in for Luiz. They have to be planning for that or now. I'd think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a really dicey situation for Villa, that is now, because they can basically at any point in the window, I presume, just pick him off. They might have other targets that they want ahead of Luiz. You get to a week of the transfer window shut in, and they think, oh well, we haven't got in who we wanted. Oh, but we can go and do this from good old Villa. They've inserted that buyback into deal, and then we've done them a favour by enabling their player to get a work permit for them. So it's difficult.
Yeah, but that's the way it is, isn't it? That's business. That's football, and we have to deal with that one way or the other. And like you guys say, Smith has to make that case, or whoever's in charge has to make arrangements for that, and we work it out. And in the next couple of weeks, there's not going to be very much rest period for the management and the senior executives at Villa, because you don't have very long until the next season starts. So, James, final question for you then. Dean Smith, is he the man in the dugout September the 12th, or are we looking at someone new?
For me, I'd say regardless of who the manager was, I think you look at the turnaround you have to do, between now and the start of next season. I'd say any kind of marginal gain in stability you can have would be a massive benefit. So for me, personally, based on that alone, I'd keep him.
Excellent. All right, James, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the experience of a trained journalist in our midst, Dan. It's always good to have somebody keep us real. You are watching the post-match pint in association with Purity Ale. One last time, I will announce it. There is a special code, Survival Sunday. If you want to get 10% off your order, plus a free glass, plus 3 free cans, you can use the code Survival Sunday, and that gets you all of that included in your order. So make sure you use that now. Oi, Dan, I feel kind of exhausted, even though I haven't done anything. I've sat here on this sofa. I feel emotionally exhausted. I've just seen Pete Powell, our first guest on today, has just sent me through the notes that he took during this game. I feel very proud. And I feel like I've kind of created that legacy of notes being integral. You may have not started doing them just yet, but I feel honoured that our guests are now feeling the need to take notes as well.
I don't need to do it because you do it.
That's true.
And I've got quite an encyclopedic memory of Villa in general anyway. I tend to remember things that have happened, so I don't ever feel the need to take notes, if I'm being perfectly honest.
That's true. And I keep you honest anyway, don't I, really? I get all the facts correct, and you just come in with the extra.
There's been many a Julian stitch-up over the years, let me tell you.
One moment that really made me nervous this afternoon, I've got to be honest, was when Courtney Hawes...
Just the one?
Just the one. When Courtney Hawes got brought on and it looked like we were going to shift the back four all around, that really worried me, because I feel like kind of first rule of football is if your back four's okay, then don't move them. How did you feel when Gilbert came off? And obviously Harahan came off at the same time. Was that the more kind of pressing concern, or were you feeling okay by that stage?
I mean, if Gilbert hasn't played 90 minutes for a long time, he's always probably going to be one of the first people that comes off. The coaching staff will know from facts and figures that will be calculated during the week if he's got 90 minutes in him. So he obviously didn't, I'm judging by the fact that they bought him off, and there wasn't really a right back to bring on. There's no right back. Elmo's injured, so that's the reason they did it. Hawes is statistically our best defender in the air, I believe, and obviously at that point Haller was on the pitch, so maybe it was something to do with that as well. I don't know, but I mean, I was bricking it anyway. He swore then I was bricking it anyway, to be fair. So it didn't matter who was coming on at that point, because as I say, it was just a horrible situation to live through anyway as a Villa fan. So I don't think it mattered who was coming on at that point. I think I was past the point of concern at that point.
I've just got a message from a very well-placed Swiss fan. Villa can stay and play safe, or they need serious review. I would like an ambitious manager and some money, and it ain't Smith. Interesting, from a knowledgeable and well-placed Swiss fan. Interesting. It's anonymous, but yeah, they claim to have big knowledge and big power. So okay. There's. I'm in two minds here because I feel like, well, actually, I don't think I am in two minds. I'm just in disagreement with my knowledgeable Swiss friend that
me too.
That Dean Smith has earned this opportunity. I think he's done a fantastic job. Will be an overstep, I think. But he's got us up. He's kept us up just about to the skin of our teeth.
Still did it.
But he has kept us up, exactly. So how does he not deserve his chance? I think I can't see who comes in, who you get in and does a better job. Who do you look at that's going to be in that criteria of manager? Because as much as Villa is a big club and we talk about it, it's not a European club. It's not competing for Champions League or even Europa League. Next season is another survival job. So you can't just waltz in and pick out a kind of Champions League credible manager at this stage.
For me, I don't like the fact that we're even having to talk about it, because I think it's very disrespectful to Dean Smith. And as you just said, he's ticked the boxes of things that have been asked for him, really. What's he achieved since he got here? Yes, got us up when it seemed absolutely impossible. Got to a cup final, like we didn't win, but still, cup final appearances over the years. They're not every year events for Villa. And he's kept us up. So for me, Dean Smith would look at it and say, well, what else can I do, lads? And I think James raised a really, really strong and good point in saying you want to be as stable as you can in the summer. I don't see many Premier League teams, if any, are going to change their manager. I can't think of one off the top of my head. So that, like you say, you're giving yourself a little bit of a disadvantage if you're suddenly one of those ones that makes your club in flux again. We're just in flux all the time. We have been for years. And Dean Smith deserves it. Dean Smith will have learned a hell of a lot this year. He'd never managed in the Premier League before. And I know he's managed at a high level, but it's very, very different. And he's got through it, and he's got us through it. I love Dean Smith. I wouldn't change it, but it's just my opinion. The way I see things going is that I think we will.
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know.
Felt like I don't know. Someone was giving us a honk to carry on, so we will. Yeah. Before we get our next guest on, I should just say we're 100 subscribers off 20k on the Villa YouTube channel. Yeah. So if you are watching this and you like what we do, you enjoy our content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That would be massively helpful for us. Obviously, reaching that 20k mark on a day when Villa secure their Premier League survival will be a lovely little milestone for us. So yeah, if you're watching this now, you don't mind hitting the subscribe button. If you already haven't, then that will be excellent. If you have already subscribed, don't hit the subscribe button, because then that will take away, and that'll be a whole thing. We don't need that.
very, very Tom Julian.
That would be. All right, let's get our next guest on the post-match pint then, Dean Averist. And Dean, I'm not sure your heart can handle this kind of stress that we've been watching. I've seen the messages coming through in various groups. It seems very concerning. I'm now stressed that you're not going to join us on the screen here. That's what I'm most stressed about.
Where's your face, dude?
I don't know what's going on. You hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Well, that works. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep you on audio then, Dean. How did you feel watching that game? The up and the down. Talk us through your emotions.
Oh, it was mad. I had to try and not concentrate on any of the other games, but it kept popping up on the TV screen what was going on, and all that stuff. So, the heart's still going. Excited speaking to you boys that we are in the Premier League still, which was fantastic. My fiance almost hit the roof because she was asleep on me whilst I was watching it. And when Jack's
not good that.
Went out the window.
Oh dear. Yeah, there's some relationship preservation to be going on here. Dan, we should probably talk about what's going to happen tonight for you after our conversation last week. You must be feeling very good about yourself.
No, you'll do.
Don't you? After our conversation on the Luke Live.
To be honest, you don't want to come near me at the moment because I'm so hot. It's so hot here. I haven't been able to have the fan on me because of obviously the microphone. The heat here is absolutely unbelievable. So I'd advise you to stay away from me tonight. To be fair.
Fair enough. Dean, let me ask you. Since lockdown, If you had to pick a man of, let's say, a man of the restart, who would you pick? Who would be your Villa's man of the restart?
Probably like with everyone, Douglas Luiz has just improved pretty much everything about his game. I thought Hawes was really good. The thing before the restart was we just kept giving away. We were giving away too many goals. The players, either they just weren't concentrating or weren't fit enough. But since then, tightened up. And I think for next season, keep the same defence. We'll have Heaton back. Just need to be more creative and as going forward, and we need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net.
Oh, screaming out for it. Absolutely screaming out for it.
Yeah, but been really happy with Dougie. Concer's been great. Connor, I've loved Connor. He's assisted everything apart from the last goal. So we do better with him in the team for definite.
Yeah, you got McGinn as well. McGinn's looked more like himself the last couple of games as well. Like his fitness issues have undoubtedly caused us huge problems over the second half of the season, haven't they? Really, even in terms of him coming back and probably not being at full match sharpness, he's actually been a real miss for us all the way through. And we have been missing a few players, haven't we? Then you talk about Heaton, we haven't had our £24 million striker as well. So there's been hurdles, and eventually, we have overcome them, haven't we? Then?
Yeah, definitely. And with McGinn, now he is the last two games. He's really been running around the place. He's been pushing that ass into the opposition, shielding the ball. I think McGinn, if I don't want Jack to go, but if McGinn does go, if Jack does go, I'd give McGinn the captaincy.
McGinn the captaincy, Mings the captaincy. I think it's quite nice to have a choice. I feel like Mings would be an obvious choice, but I wouldn't disagree if it went to John McGinn.
Dean Smith said, and he used at Brentford, that he never had a captain, and a different player was a captain, for different games, sort of thing. But we haven't seen that since he's been at Villa. So who knows? But Heaton, Mings, McGinn, if they're all here, I can see one of those three definitely.
A few of the comments saying Heaton as well. Interstuella Dweller says Heaton captain. James Walsh, Heaton for captain. So a few of those. At the other end of the pitch though, Dean, a few people were talking about the strikers earlier. A few people saying that we have the chance to get Tammy back. What would be your thoughts on Tammy Abraham returning to B6?
Would love it. If Grealish stays, I think we've got a better chance of Tammy coming back. Right. If Grealish goes, I don't think Tammy would come near us.
Down's negative face kicking in again.
Because it's just zero chance. There's zero chance of it happening. And as Dean says, especially without Jack. Jack was a big reason why Tammy Abraham came to Villa in the Champions. Okay, we're Premier League now, but he was a big reason why Tammy Abraham came to Villa Park, and he was a big reason why he didn't go to Wolves in that January as well. I think what I want to see from Villa, I don't know whether Dean agrees with me, I want to see a couple of Heaton-esque signings now. I want us to have learned that lesson. A couple of players, Premier League players with experience in different positions. I think that's absolutely essential for us in the summer. I mean, was it James who mentioned Lallana? I'm not saying him being a definite, but just a few people that know the league in the same rationale we used to sign Tom Heaton. I want to see that replicated elsewhere. Definitely. Do you agree with that, Dane?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we signed McGrath when he was almost 30. I'd have Albrighton. I'd cheeky bid in for Albrighton, or even Snodgrass, somebody that could come. Because our wingers, I know Trezeguet's, done brilliantly the last couple of games with the goals, but it's the people who know the league that will keep you in the league. Well, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get your point completely.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the comments here. Somebody's just jumped in. I've lost it already. Stay sharp. I want to see you lot do some Jaeger bombs. I think there's too much serious chat here for some people because we don't look happy enough that we've just stayed up. I think it's really difficult. Yeah, I think we're all absolutely ecstatic. But the point is that we need to make a show out of it, and we can't just be smashing back the Jaeger bombs. Dean, before you go, then the last question to you, Dean Smith. Does he stay? Does he go? What do you? How do you build for the future?
I would like him to stay. I want him to stay. If he was anyone else, though, with the season we'd have had, would we have wanted him to stay? Again, it's his first season in the big time. I think he'll have learned a lot. The best managers go into every game, and Dean said it himself, with a game plan. Certain players for certain games, things like that. We haven't seen that too much this season, just for our lack of options, really. So a few more options. Dean's shown how tactically aware he can be the last few games. So I'd keep him for the summer, definitely for next season.
Dean, thank you so much for coming on to the post-match pint. Massively appreciate it. Enjoy the celebrations.
And thanks,
Dean.
We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, mate.
Speak soon, fellas. Have a good summer. Bye.
You too. Dan, a lot of people now saying that we should just have some shots and be done with it, to be honest.
Everyone outside here is doing that. It's just me.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is a cause for a celebration. I know we talked at the start where it's a weird one because we don't want to seem like we're celebrating staying up. It's not our overall aim. I don't think to be 17th. Our overall aim is to move up and to be challenging for Europe, I guess, at some point. But we need to be realistic about that and realistic about the difficulty of the Premier League and how quickly you can do that kind of thing. Shots from Alexander Brunner, but it takes time. And the first step was staying in the league. And 3 games ago, you and I both sat here after the Manchester United game, and we were really disappointed then. I think disappointed is an understatement. We were looking at each other and just going, who knows what's going to happen here? But the main thing is we know that we're going to be in the Championship and we're going to be rebuilding. And since in the Championship, and since then, we've gone on a run and we've seen we've seen solid Premier League performances. Next year is going to be a whole new, different chapter, and we look forward to that. And there's going to be ups and there's downs. It's not going to be easy, but by God, is it good to be in the Premier League?
Yeah, fantastic. Another Premier League summer. Obviously, in the not too distant past, we've had 2 summers of not being a Premier League team, and I don't like it. But my biggest takeaway from all this, and all this doing the show since we decided to bring the video view back, someone popped up on the comments earlier, I can't remember who said it, but someone said about lockdown saved our season, and it didn't feel it for the first few weeks when we were coming on and doing these shows and we were getting beat 1-0 and there was 0-0s, 1-1s, whatever. It didn't feel like that had saved our season, but it's true. Yeah. Because we learned to defend when we came back after lockdown. The players went into training and we learned how to defend, and that small margin of being able to defend, it didn't feel it, but it is what's got us over the line, because we had when we lost in those first few games, it was narrow defeats every time, but we'd learned to defend. We've then seen the full fruits of that labour come in the last 4 games of being able to defend properly, and it's got us wins. What I want to see next season is I want to see the Villa I saw in the Arsenal game. That was like the Villa of old, because we had a good game plan, but yet we still looked dangerous going forward on the break. We were very, very solid defensively. It just felt like Villa again. That was like a John Gregory or a Brian Little team that night, and that's what I want to see from Villa. I'm not expecting us to be top 4 challenging for the title, things like that, but I just want to see us being competitive. And that night, we beat a good team, playing in a way that I remember Villa playing as I was a kid, and that's what I want to see. I want it to be fun again, and that's all I can say about next season. Because let's face it, as happy as we are, even though I think it's a bit small time myself, and you agree, this season has been hard, and it's been a hard one to enjoy, being back in the Premier League. I want to enjoy it again next season and see more nights like we saw against Arsenal.
Yeah, I hesitate to use the word small time because it's difficult. Being in the Premier League is difficult, and we've been down in the dumps, and I think rightly so, because we've seen some terrible performances, and we've seen some times where we really thought it was done. And I think there is cause for celebration today. And yeah, I don't want to say it's small time, because I think it's important to mark this time in our history. But I hope that this isn't the benchmark for next season. that's what I really want to see is a proper growth plan from the management, from the senior execs, from the players, from the whole club. The way that the women's team is leading the example there a little bit, that's what I really hope. Sean Reynolds, I think it just came up on the screen. Genuinely can't believe how composed you both are. I keep having a quiver hugging my lad up the Villa. It does feel a bit like that. I feel like we're on the edge of composure. So I think before we go, we should have a look at the league table for the most enjoyable time this season. Finally, we can look at that.
Oh my days!
And know that it's not going to change. But how close was it? And I mean, to feel sorry for them would be a little bit too far, but Bournemouth, pushed us right to the end with that 3-1 win against Everton today. Watford obviously losing their last two games, and who knows what would have been if they'd kept with Pearson, whether it would have been the same or not. We don't know. But thank God they got rid of Pearson, and kind of bowed out after that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting table. Leicester, oh my God. They've absolutely had a nightmare. Whatever Brendan Rodgers says, that's a nightmare to chuck Champions League away from that position. And without
Manchester United in the other way.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, and without sounding like an idiot as well. And Villa fans will obviously enjoy this, but probably the fans of the other team as well. You were saying about the Premier League is going to be excellent next season. We like Leeds being back in there, but 3 of the smaller teams have actually gone down, which is quite rare nowadays. There's been a few teams like that who've been kicking around the Premier League for a long time. So I'm actually pleased that Leeds are up. I'd have obviously rather West Brom hadn't gone up, and I'd quite like to see Brentford as a smaller team go up, because I've really liked the way they've operated in the Championship. For them, I'd like to see them come up and have a crack at the Premier League. But yeah, it's just incredible that we sat here after 38 games and talking about us being 17th, because it didn't seem humanly possible.
Yeah. So this is the last post-match pint of the season. Obviously, we're out of games, so
Yep.
There will be no more games to enjoy with a beer until September next year. So a few people in the comments, Dan, saying, is the Villa View coming back? We have our last Luke Live Lounge on Tuesday night. If you're still available in your villa,
I'll do it.
You can make it.
I'll always do it, Tom. Well, it works, doesn't it? So I might as well.
Yeah, fair enough. We're definitely going to be here on Tuesday. I think we still need to work out exactly what we're going to do. To be quite honest with you, we're having this conversation live right now with you guys. But if you have ideas and you have ideas for content that you want us to put together next year, then we can certainly talk about them. I'm having another baby, so I should probably talk to my wife about this kind of thing. But we can work it out. But I've really enjoyed these post-match pints, and massive thanks to Purity Ale for helping us put them on. Again, if you want to support them, the discount code Survival Sunday, where you get a load of free stuff, is in the corner there. So if you do like what we've done and you want to support us in some way, then you can do with that code. That will show them that you guys are watching, which is really good. And we also have a celebratory competition for you guys, because we stayed up today. We are going to give away next year's shirt on release day. So to celebrate us being in the Premier League again, we're going to give away the 2020/2021 Aston Villa home shirt. We're going to get it to you on release day. We're going to send it out. I can't promise it'll be at your door on release day, because we're not that organised.
Tom Julian's going to hand over the shirt.
Yeah, I'll sign it for you if you like. So all you need to do to enter is go to www.thevillaview.tv, or you can send your name in an email to win@thevillaview.tv. So all of the terms and conditions are there. There'll be a link for you to kind of subscribe to all our different channels, our Instagram, Twitter. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but it's massively helpful if you do for us. So yeah, all of the details will be there. Thevillaview.tv or win@thevillaview.tv for a chance to get to get next year's home shirt. Obviously, we don't know what it looks like yet. This is a speculative competition where we're going to give it away. We'll buy it and we'll give it away to you guys. We can't tell you what it looks like or anything like that just yet. But again, if you enter that and support our channels, we can we can grow as a channel, and hopefully we carry on next season and we continue to grow. So Dan, that's kind of our current plan, our current thinking at the moment, without too much discussion about it.
Yeah, two things for me on that is that, one, I'm not going to do it without you, so you need to put serious pressure on the wife. If you're not doing it, I'm not doing it. Second thing, if we hit 20,000 subscribers, it would really help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If we hit 20,000 tonight, that would help us sway a decision. If Tom can say he's got 20,000 subscribers to the wife, I don't think she can argue with that, can she?
She'll be really impressed. Yeah,
and that'll be a first for her.
Wow, cold. Yeah, I mean, we've never gone Patreon. We've never done anything for apart from like selling mugs and that kind of thing. You know, the kind of funds have always gone back into the Villa View. So that's what we're about. And yeah, we've really enjoyed these. I think that's fair to say. We haven't enjoyed the performances.
I did enjoy the first 5.
We haven't, not necessarily the performances, but it's been great to be able to chat with you guys. And have the comments coming in, have people coming on, and a massive thanks to the people behind the scenes. Adam Bates, who's been producing since lockdown, John Inslee, who's been handling the socials, Lee Haynes, an immense graphic designer who's put together some of our social graphics and that kind of thing. So it's not just Dan and I on the screen here. There's been a huge amount of work behind the scenes, and all the guys that have come on, and thanks to you guys that continue to support the channel, and just comment, subscribe, follow us, all of those kind of things. We massively appreciate it. So
I just say one thing. Sorry. Sure. I don't want to single one person out in particular, but I have been outstanding. No, I'm really joking. Adam deserves all the credit, because without him, there's absolutely no chance that we pull this off, and there's no chance that we even come back and try it in the first place. So Adam deserves a massive amount of credit. So everyone should not be directing thanks and praise to me and you, because essentially we just come on and talk about football, which is the easy bit. It's Adam that deserves the praise, because none of this happens without him.
Totally. To peek behind the curtain just for a minute, is that Adam hassled us, to be honest, for weeks and months, like giving us little ideas on how we should come back. Eventually, we decided to steal a couple, but realised we couldn't do it without him. So, we needed him and brought him in, and he's been phenomenal. So enough loving on the Villa View. That is what it is. It should be said that there's loads of good Villa content creators out there. We're obviously the best. No, I'm joking. But yeah, keep supporting the Villa View content creators, because there's a lot of good ones, a lot of young ones, and let's keep it going for next year, whoever's in the hot seat. All right, I'm gonna hang it up there. Enjoy your evenings, enjoy your weeks, enjoy your summers, because the Villa are staying up. You can join us again for the Luke Live Lounge on Tuesday night from 7 p.m. UK time. That's 8 p.m. for you, Dan. You need to remember that.
Thank you. I've got the time right today, so we're okay. Me and you were working on the same time, I think, now, so that's good.
It's easy though if the game finishes and you have to be on. You don't have that kind of safety net on Tuesday.
You worry about your time.
I'll send you a text. It'll be fine. All right. Make sure you join us on Tuesday, 7 p.m. UK time. We look forward to chatting with you then, as ever, and more importantly than ever, up the Villa.